It's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You bet. And before we begin, I want to know we're coming up on the 4 year anniversary of this pandemic. How did you survive the whole COVID thing and how did it change you?
Well, basically the pandemic gave me an opportunity to study and to learn. And I'm in the real estate industry, as you know, and I am all about learning as you go, continue, lifelong learning. And I dove into how does social media work for marketing. I did a master class in branding. I did a couple of courses on, how to use Facebook, how to use Instagram for an advertising and a promotion perspective, because that's when they rolled out their ads. And I got I spent a lot of time with my mom because she was kind of exiting the universe, going on to another life. And so that was kind of my job, to go see her, spend time with her. And I'll tell you what I did. I used to sing to her a lot. That was kind of fun because music was very much a part of our central part of our family. And so she really loved that. That was kind of my way of helping her in her journey, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, we kind of talked a little bit before this began about your background in music and city planning and you're in real estate. But if I put you in front of a bunch of third graders right now, one of the kids said, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How would you answer that child?
I find people, I change people's lives by finding people the spaces and the places where they want to live and be. And I can design it or I can find it for you. And if you find it and it's not good enough for you, I'll make it better. I can make it better and I can make it for you.
So, what did you want to be in the third grade?
I wanted to be an artist.
Okay.
Um, when we came from Cuba, I used to draw everything that I saw. I was always drawing, and I did books about this is my family and all that. And then later on, as I grew older, we moved into a house, and I used to draw the interiors, and I would draw the furniture and all that. My father was like, "Aha, okay, she wants to draw the inside of a house, okay." And so my father, who was an engineer, he said, "I think you would really enjoy being an architect." And I said, "Okay, that sounds good." So I kind of grew up into that. I want to create spaces. I want to design where people live. I want to make places that you are happy to be in, you know?
Yeah. So how did you evolve into where you're at today? Take me to your big kind of a condensed version of how real estate became your ultimate passion right now.
Well, the Twitter version, I'm going to call it 35 words or less, is that I pursued architecture. I still love it. It's part of my DNA. And I went to a great school in upstate New York called Cornell University. And I got my master's degree in city planning and urban design, so I can design cities. Moved to New York City. I realized that I didn't know anything about how to create my projects because I have a lot of theory, but how do they begin? So I got jobs that taught me things. And one of the things that I learned was that I had to learn finance. So I went to night school at NYU, and then I wound up working for real estate investors that bought property. And then they basically said, well, in order for you to talk to the customers, you have to become a securities broker. And I'm like, okay, well, that's Wall Street. Those people print money. I'm going to go work there. So I got my securities license and I wound up working for an investment bank because I wanted to learn how do I finance my dreams? Where do I get the money to create what I envision? And that was kind of my goal. And then in 1990, when the saving the loan crisis happened, I moved back home to be with my family in Miami. And I said, okay, it's time. I'm going to create my own business. And my goal was to integrate the what I call the three silos of the built environment, which is finance, construction and design and construction, and real estate. And that's a flow. You find it, you build it, you finance it, you build it, and then you sell it or you rent it out. And that's kind of since I had worked for investors in New York City and I'd worked for the investment world, I kind of went down that road. And that's how I became a real estate person because I saw myself more of a developer than, you know, just just an architect. The architect is the visionary, but they don't get all the financial horsepower that
Yeah.
a developer does. And so that was how I got into real estate.
So talk to me a little bit about who's been an inspiration or a hero for you in your life.
Oh wow, so many different people. I think one of the people that really, well, first of all, my thesis professor, who created a lot of books about how the American city should be designed. And that eventually morphed into what my friends Andres and Liz Platter Zyberk and Andres Tony did. They created the new urbanism movement, which is how to create nice, great places to live. The street, the bicycle paths, the sidewalks, the shady trees. That's what a great neighborhood, what makes a great neighborhood, what creates a great town. And then when I worked on Wall Street, I worked with Ace Greenberg, who was the CEO of Bear Stearns. I sat about 6 feet away from his office, and he was an amazing leader and very good guide. He took care of his salespeople. He made it very personal. I mean, I was one of 10,000 people that sat on the equities trading floor, and he made a point to help me out. He says, "You come to me if you ever have a problem." I was also the only source of Cuban cigars on the equities trading floor. So that made me very, very popular. And, but I was the only Latina woman there. I mean, and there were some assistants and all that, but registered brokers, I was the only one.
Wow.
And so I kind of tried to open up the Latin America and, the Spanish banks. And I did, have a lot of fun and I had a great time, made money. And then I said, okay, time to make my own world.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you can meet one person alive on the planet right now that you find fascinating, who would that be? Who would you love to meet and talk to?
Does he have to be alive? I would love to
No,
meet.
we can do the
Oh,
ghost. We can open the door.
I would have loved to have met Steve Jobs
Yeah.
because I think he really took ideas to the next level.
Hmm.
And I think that he is extremely, he has a great deal of, wisdom that he learned because he was very much an artist at his soul. He had the soul of an artist. And I think that finance people who have the soul of an artist are the people that drive the bus. They're going to create the future.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I see. I love all of the things that technology has brought us. I love the imagination that has brought us what we have today. And I think that, yeah, that's one person I would really like to say, hey, how are you? So tell
Yeah.
me what was it like to go to school at Palo Alto Elementary?
Yeah. For sure. So you obviously are very highly driven, very accomplished. What gets you out of bed every day? What gets you to not only accomplish what you want to get done in real estate, but to evolve as a human?
I love what I do. And I think that most architects, at least it is my observation, that we have this passion to make the world a better place and that we have the talent and the vision to make that happen. And, obviously the financial tools are like, wow, that's really great. So I feel like I have to have a legacy of I've been blessed by in so many ways. I've had so many opportunities and so many doors have opened for me. And, obviously it's been quite a challenge to go through different things. But at the end of the day, I look back and I'm like, wow, I did this. Wow, I did that. And nobody else was doing it at the time. So what I'm working on now, which woke me up early this morning, we had a meeting, is I'm developing an app with a business partner who is an AI specialist. And what we're doing is we're creating an app to assist people to have a better experience in home searching. And I bring to the table my vision, which is visual searching and what I want to see as a customer. What do they, I see their pain points and how can I solve those pain points? Because architecture is all about problem solving. It's a
Yeah.
thinking process.
Yeah.
People tend to corral us into, oh, will you design my house? I'm like, that's the least I can do for you.
Yeah.
I can do so much more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what drives the bus for me. You know,
So what's been one of your best client success stories?
my favorite story was because it pulls in my Cornell relationships. I lived at the International Living Center. My friends are from all over the world. And one of my classmates called me up one day and said, my cousin is here from Kuala Lumpur and I'd like him to meet you. And this was when I was at Bear Stearns and I worked in the international department. So she thought, okay, let me introduce him. And so anyway, we went to dinner about a year and we kept writing each other. A year later, he calls me up and he says, have you read the first page of the Wall Street Journal? And I said, wait, no, I let me look.
Yeah.
So he was the owner and he still is the owner of the um of Malaysia's lotto business. And he basically was investing in gambling, online, like gambling or uh what is it, casinos and all that. He wanted to learn about that. That's the research that I used to send him. So he calls me up and he goes, I'm buying a company and I want to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Like in the movie Wall Street where you bag the elephant.
Yeah.
This is the elephant, right?
Yeah.
So, we meet, blah, blah, blah. He needs 110 million bucks. He's got a poison pill on his takeover program. And I said, don't worry, I'm going to find your money. So I just sat there with my Rolodex. And you remember those Rolodexes that were round?
Yeah.
Like, okay, hey, are you guys lending this week? Hey, are you guys lending? So then I went to the chairman. I went to Ace Greenberg and I said, I have a client that needs this money. He says, by law, because we're a securities brokerage, we can't lend 100% on the acquisition of a stock. And I said, okay, I'll find the money. So I had a classmate, I had a friend who worked for an international bank, and he had lived in Hong Kong for many years. And basically, the Bank of America, Prudential, and all the other banks said, no, we're not going to give you the money because we have to do the due diligence because you're a foreign company. My friend said, I'll do it. And he got 110 million bucks in a week before his poison pill triggered. And that was my, super duper deal because, you obviously here you are. And people were like in the company, they were like, who the hell is this woman? Who is this girl? Okay.
Yeah.
Where's this girl come from? It's just, hey,
Yeah.
you're who you are and you help people.
Yeah.
And that's it. You help people.
Yeah.
You figure out how to solve their problem.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. If you have a dream tonight, you run into the 20-year-old version of you, and you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've led, the wisdom you've gained, what advice would you impart on that young version of you?
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of them,
Yeah.
capital T,
Yeah.
because you do realize that Wall Street is not a female dominated industry and it tends to attract people who have a high percentage of testosterone and they tend to be very aggressive and intimidating. And I think that when you're young and you're a girl and, all this woman, I should say, in those days, I was like, I needed a rabbi. I needed somebody to teach me. Find a mentor.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
if I were going to say, consolidate that statement, find yourself a mentor, somebody who can help you.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the things that you can't go it alone. You need to find someone who's been there as much as possible to the degree that you can, who can guide you on how to protect yourself and how to envision your future.
So you've had quite a career, and when you look back, I'm curious of all of the things you've done and overcome and achieved and become, what are you the proudest of?
Um, I think one of the things that I'm the proudest of is that in 1990, when I started my company, there was no funding to build anything. So I became a specialist in affordable housing finance using federal money. And for about 27 years, for over 2 decades, closing on three, we created a design committee that regulates what the municipal bonds that are issued by Miami-Dade County, how the buildings are built. So if you're a developer, and I deal with the biggest ones, and you want to build a 300 unit apartment complex somewhere in Miami, you have to go through my committee and go by these design guidelines so that what you create is something that looks like a market rate building, that has the amenities and that has the livability of a place that you would pay 5x in rent. And to me, we have built thousands of units and housed thousands of families in Miami-Dade County. The landscape is completely different because now people are like, oh, how do I get in there? I want to live there. And nobody ever moves out. And I think there's some really, really qualified and wonderful developers that I've worked with, and they do beautiful jobs. And they've taken it to heart. So I'm really,
So, yeah, for sure. So everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm definitely an alpha girl, alpha female. I think that I'm a visionary. I think that I see the future, and that's my superpower. And I'm also a great connector. I meet people and I try to learn who they are and understand them. And if I know somebody over here that can help this person, I'm a really good connector.
So if anyone wants to hire you, learn more about you, reach out, any of the good business, where do they go?
They go to www.urbaniza Realty, Urbaniza, Urbaniza. Urbaniza stands for She Develops in Spanish. Urbanizarealty.com or Urbaniza Group. And I'm on LinkedIn as Urbaniza Group. Urbanizar means to develop. And I've been doing that. And I'm proud to say, and you asked me a very important question, which is, what am I proud of? And I'm proud of the way that Miami's affordable housing has developed
Yeah,
because everybody who works deserves a beautiful place to live.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, not decent, beautiful.
yeah, absolutely. This has been so illuminating. Thank you so much, Gladys, for your time. You're so vibrant and full of life. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. It was fun. And I love your podcast. The history of music is near and dear to my heart.
I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Bye bye.
Best of luck. Take care.